Samanta Chakravalesu Atra Gaccantu Devata Sadhammang Munirajas Sunantu Sagga Mokkadang Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Andadani bhikkhave amantayami vo vayadhamma sankhara apamadena sampadetha. My utmost respect to the perfectly enlightened Samma Sambuddha, the noble doctrine of the Buddha, and the noble Mahasangha, the disciples of the Buddha. Hello, dear Dhamma friends. Today we are going to discuss a very useful sutta called Mahāparinibbāṇa Sutta. This is one of the suttas that is included in the Digha Nikaya, and Digha Nikaya is part of the Sutta Pitaka, and Digha Nikaya has 32 long suttas, and this particular sutta is the longest sutta, I could say, in the Digha Nikaya. It's a massive sutta, so we won't be able to cover up everything during this short period of time, but I will try to say something that can be very helpful to us to learn something from this wonderful sutta. So Digha Nikaya talks about the last days of the Buddha, especially if you are a Buddhist. This can also bring you some sort of samvega, like it really touches our heart when it comes to the Mahāparinibbāṇa Sutta, because Mahāparinibbāṇa Sutta definitely is talking about the last few days of the Buddha, and being someone who was so close to the Buddha and also after learning the Dhamma, and also when we see the Buddha's amazing qualities, so we are very grateful to the Buddha for all these wonderful teachings that we have learned from the Buddha. So it could bring some panic, some kind of a stress to us when we think of the last few days. It's really heartbreaking sometimes. But yes, we need to know, we need to also learn the the teachings of the Buddha, and Buddha himself was part of the Dhamma, and all the conditioned things are impermanent, subject to change. So is the Buddha himself. And that is why he said last words of his life, just before his passing away, he said, Handadani bhikkhave amantayamivo vayadhamma sankhara appamadena sampadeta. That means every single thing, every conditioned thing is subject to change. And therefore the Buddha asked all the monks, all the followers, all the disciples, to be diligent, to work hard, to make the maximum use of this lifetime we have as someone who can think, who can learn, who can realize, who can understand, who can actually generate wisdom. So, having said that, the Buddha passed away, and this sutta talks about these things. So, particularly this sutta talks about in this sutta we can actually categorize the whole sutta into several parts, 6 parts precise. Over here in part 1, we do have some explanations about in Magadha, what was happening in Magadha when he met Sunida Sakara and all, and then conditions of a nation's welfare. So Satta Aparihani Dhamma, these are really, really, really helpful, especially today. I think it is more helpful to us, how important it is for us to follow these, learn these things, and these 7 Aparihaniya Dhamma, 7 conditions that can decline our downfall, a country's downfall, a society's downfall, a community's downfall. How to avoid those downfalls are explained in these 7 conditions. And then the Buddha summoned the monks, and then he talks about various different ways how important it is for monks to practice 7 conditions to avoid downfall. And he actually touches upon various aspects of these 7 conditions, 7 welfare of the bhikkhu. So again, this is very helpful. 7 good qualities and 7 factors of enlightenment and 7 perceptions, 6 conditions to be remembered, and counsel to the bhikkhus, and Sariputta's lion's roar, the fruits of the fruits of an immoral and moral life, and also crossing the Ganges. So after these things, having freed these things in certain parts of the country, he was also traveling with so many large number of monks. He was traveling all the time. So again, this is kind of an active lifestyle that he had, even at the last moment, how he was walking barefoot, and how he was helping many people, meeting many, and explaining things, and also advising the monks. These are really, really helpful. In part 2, we have the journey to Vesali and the 4 noble truths, the 4 specific attainments, and mirror of the Dhamma, mindfulness and clear comprehension, Ambapali and the Lichavis, and the Blessed One's deadly sickness also is explained here in the part 2. So it happens sometime just before the Buddha's just before the Buddha's passing away. In fact, a few days before, he had this problem. So he was dealing with that sickness. It was deadly, and it was a very uncomfortable situation, even for the Buddha. This is where the beginning of his last few days, very helpful to us to learn about the last few days, detailed explanations of the Buddha's lifestyle. Especially when we talk about the Buddha's life, we don't have that much elaborate life story of the Buddha. We do have lot of Atakatha commentarial explanations and later explanations of the life of the Buddha, like putting things together. But this particular sutta, Mahāparinibbāṇa Sutta, gives us an enormous explanations, extensive explanation of the last few days of the Buddha. In my understanding, after Mahavaggapali of Vinaya Pitaka, this is where we find the true life story of the Buddha. The other stories that we can find actually are from different suttas putting together. And here, this sutta in that case also very, very important to learn about the lifestyle or lifetime of the Buddha, and his biography is very well explained. And in part 3, we can see relinquishing to the will to live. So this is where we say the Buddha officially decides, and this is it, and it is time to go. Okay, so he officially decides to do that, and then he was also actually prompting Venerable Ananda, his personal attendant. There are certain situations where the Buddha could live beyond his lifespan, but Venerable Ananda somehow, according to the sutta, he was possessed with the Mara, and he was very conflicted, and in his own mind, he was very stressful because having learned about the Buddha's difficult situation in his bodily condition, his sickness, Venerable Ananda was already in a very stressful situation, and hopefully he could not understand what the Buddha said. That is what is meant here. And then Maras appealed to the Buddha, it is time to go, and the discussion between the two explains how Buddha explained to the Mara even, I would go only when everything is settled according to the sasana existence, the sustainable development and well-establishment of the sasana. When everything is perfect, everything is in order, then I will decide to go. Then Mara said, yeah, everything is okay now. The bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, upasakas, upasikas, all of them have learned the Dhamma practice, and they are very much in good order. Now you can pass away. It looks like he is desperately wanting the Buddha to pass away. Actually, he has even tried immediately after the enlightenment that now you have enlightened, this is what you wanted to do, you wanted to accomplish after many, many eons of fulfilling paramitas. You just wanted to attain perfect enlightenment, Samma Sambuddha. Okay, you're done. You can go now. He even invited the Buddha. Um, actually, he can pass away well before. And then Buddha had a mission. When he came to this world, he had a mission. So he had to work for 45 long years, walking barefoot and walking along the paths, living in the forest, living in the jungle, living a very simple lifestyle, dedicating his life and energy to the for the welfare and benefit of the many. And then he was preaching the Dhamma. And this is the mission that he had to accomplish. Apart from enlightenment, apart from that perfect enlightenment, after so much difficulties, so many challenges, he still had to establish the sasana, the order of the disciples of the Buddha. And then whenever everything was in perfect order, he decided to go later on. So until that, he did not want to accept the Mara's invitation. This actually is very interesting thing. Like how can someone like Mara, or if there someone like Mara, to come in person to invite or request someone, which can be an interesting discussion. Probably some other time we could discuss about that as well. And then in the sutta, once he relinquishes his will to live and his own magical powers, the his whatever his meditational jhani powers to control his bodily aging and his sickness and all these things, he could definitely do that with the power of his meditation and with the jhana. So he could actually go into the deep jhanas and recover from the damage that he has undergone to his bodily organs. And it is said he could he could recover, and then he could be normal. But then once he decided it is time to go, and he had already relinquished that access to power, he did not want that to use that magical power, that supernormal power, to suppress his bodily conditions. So he just let it go. Just he wanted to be normal after that. And in the sutta, it is said like how the Buddha explained to Mara, and once you attain uh, the that situation like that, and once you are into this old age, Buddha said, I'm old now. I'm not so strong. I have very uncomfortable bodily situations right now. And he explained it to them, the Venerable Ananda. And then in these last few days, he discusses about 8 causes of earthquakes. Once he decided to pass away, it is said, according to the sutta, that there was an earthquake. It could happen when someone like him, or someone, there are other people also, it is said, some other individuals also. The Buddha explained later, this kind of an earthquake could happen. And then that time only Venerable Ananda was alarmed. And then Venerable Ananda later on actually appealed to the Buddha, could you please stay a little longer, if you could? And to that request by Venerable Ananda, Buddha said, once I take a decision, it is done. It is final. I can't take back. I can pull back that decision. Okay, it is time to go. Once it is time to go, we have to go. We can't really have attachment to life anymore. He did not have attachment to life, but he actually, out of compassion for the many, he wanted to live and make sure that his sangha, his fourfold assemblies are well in order and capable enough to handle things all by themselves. And then the Buddha explained about the 8 assemblies, 8 fields of mastery, and 8 liberations. And also Mara's former temptation, as I mentioned, immediately after the Buddha's passing away, how he explained that as well. And again, Venerable Ananda's appeal and the last admonition, last admonition of the Buddha. The topic that I kept today as Handadani Bhikkave Amantayami Vo Vaya Dhamma Sankhara Appamadena Sampade. I address you for the last time, last once and for all. After this, I will address you no more. And these are my last words. So, Appamadena Sampade. Every condition things are subject to change. You will not live forever. Neither this world, all conditioned things in this world will be subject to decay one day or the other. You are also to be gone one day, whether you like it or not. No matter how many things you have, how much power you have, political, educational, monetary, whatever, whether you are healthy or not, whether you live longer or not, whether you are in the comfort zone, you are in the best of the country, wherever, whatever, doesn't really matter. You have to go one day. And we don't really know. You can really say in advance, okay, I'm going after this. I will go on this day at this particular time. You can really determine, decide. So you have to be ready. And that is why the Buddha said, be diligent, work hard, and get maximum use of this golden opportunity that you have. Learn the Dhamma, practice the Dhamma, and get out of this samsara, attain the maggas and phalas, path and fruition, so that you can actually decode this circle of transmigration. You can come out of this samsaric circle and you can cease to exist in this samsara if you try your hard, if you try your best, and if you make really hard work, and if you are very diligent and always mindful and learn the Dhamma, practice the Dhamma, associate with the wonderful Kalyana with the friends, you have a chance. That is the Buddha's advice. So that last admonition after that, also it is said about the last meal of the Buddha, and so also a very interesting story about this last meal. And when he had this last meal, it was and also interesting. I think in Bible there is a kind of a similar story to Jesus Christ, where he also had Last Supper, and also it was a memorable thing how he was, one of the enemies, someone who did not really like him, and somehow betrayed him during the Last Supper. And over here, the Buddha's last meal also was already made his sickness more worse than ever. And after that, he got already food poisoning, and then this last meal was making him even more uncomfortable. And so he even asked the donor not to give it to someone else because that food was not really helpful to others. And the elephants look like, and the four great references, the Buddha's last meal, uh, and then clearing of the waters, like this is the last meal, and also uh, last water, we could say. He wanted to drink, he was very thirsty. And as an old person, old master, spiritual master, walking barefoot, walking long ways, and all the way to Kusinara, where he finally rest. And then on the way, he wanted to drink some water. And it is said Venerable Ananda helped him getting some water, and that time how that water was cleared for him, clearing of the waters. And so Pukusa, the Malla, then this again is the place where the Mallas, the kings or the leaders of that region, and that was their region. And Kukutta Nadi or Kakutta Nadi, I think it is called today, it is Gaggara. If that is the same thing, that should be Gaggara. In Kushinagar today, you could probably see a very small waterway, a stream. A lot of people think that it should be the one. Maybe or may not be, because this happened like thousands of years ago. But waterways, this kind of water or rivers can survive, sustain for thousands of years. So probably it could be the same. And then relieving Chunda's remorse. So Chunda was the one who actually offered the last meal to the Buddha, and he was also very stressful because later when he heard that Buddha was very sick, he got food poisoning, and then he was very upset, and Buddha made assured that it is nothing to do with your good intention. That is nothing wrong with your wonderful merit. It was how much a powerful merit that you have generated. So Buddha made sure that his mind was okay. Such an ideal, exemplary spiritual master he was, and he made sure that his devotee was in good frame of mind. So this is also an interesting story. And then in part 5, we can see at Kusinara, the last place of rest, and the grief of the gods. Even the gods were very, very upset about this situation, the last few days of the Buddha. And every sentient being was very happy when the Buddha was there, and including the Brahmas and Devas. And then when he was about to leave, because such a person, such a wonderful um, um, spiritual leader would come into this world after thousands and thousands of years. So even for the last 2,500 years, there was only one Buddha. And of course, there were many other religious leaders in the world, spiritual masters in the world, but there was only one Buddha. So the Devas were also not perfect, and those Devas who have not attained any spiritual attainment, they could also not feel comfortable. They could not appease themselves, so they were very upset. And also Venerable Ananda's concern, there were some questions by Venerable Ananda that he wanted to make sure after the Buddha's passing away, how should we take care of the Buddha's body, for example, how to cremate the body, and all kinds of little details the Venerable Ananda wanted to ask from the Buddha. And he wanted to clear some doubts about even for the, like after the Buddha, what will happen to us? Who will be our teacher? Who will be our master? Whom should we approach if we have any question? So when the Buddha was there, he could easily go and ask the Buddha any question. And now after his passing away, how could we resolve this issue? How could we sort out any problem if we have? And then the Buddha said, after my passing away, Ananda, don't worry. The Dhamma and the Vinaya should be there to help you, guide you. The Dhamma and Vinaya should be your master. Okay. So I think it is very, very wonderful way the Buddha asks all of us, like whenever we have something, we need to match with the Dhamma, I would say Dhamma and the Kamma, so we can actually sort out any issue if we have. We should match with the Dhamma and the Kamma. So this is again very interesting discussion with the Buddha and Venerable Ananda. And the Buddha also explained 4 places of pilgrimage. 4 places of pilgrimage, like those places where all the people, all the followers of the Buddha should go visit. And one is the birthplace of the Buddha. Today's present day Lumbini in Nepal, in the border of UP, northern India. And then Kusinara, the second one is the place where he was enlightened. That is the present day Sarnath, what we call the place where he preached the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the first sermon, the Dhammacakkappavattana, the very essence of the Dhamma was included into this particular sutta. And this is where he uttered his first, he explained, he expressed his first teaching. So that place was called Varanasi or Varanasi Isipatana Nigadaya, where the deer park was located. And the Buddha preached to 5 disciples, Venerable Kondanya, Venerable Vappa, Venerable Bhaddiya, Venerable Mahanama, and Venerable Assaji. These were the 5 disciples, the first ever humans who listened to the Buddha's teachings. And of course, it is said there were many innumerable amount of devas, celestial beings, devas and brahmas, who also listened to the first sermon. And Venerable Kondanya was the one who was declared as Anya Kondanya afterwards, because he was the first and foremost to open his Dhamma eye. And it is said in the sutta, Chakkung Udapadi, Jnanang Udapadi, Panya Udapadi, Vijja Udapadi, Aloko Udapadi, how the eye was opened, Chakkung Udapadi, how the knowledge appeared, Jnanang Udapadi, Vijja, also the all kinds of clearance, the understanding, realization happening. The light appeared. Everyone, when they practice meditation, they are searching for the light. They do search for the light. And the light of the Dhamma or the eye of the Dhamma, Dhamma Chakku appeared. So Venerable Kondai was the first and foremost, the lucky one, the fortunate one, to be called Anya Kondanya, because he was the one who attained the first fruition of sainthood, that was called Sotapanna, the stream entry. And so that place, the first place, the place where the Buddha preached the first Dhamma sermon. And then the third place is, or the second place actually, the place where he was enlightened. My apology. That is the Buddha Gaya or Bodh Gaya in present day in Bihar, in Bodh Gaya or Buddha Gaya we call. And that is the place under the Bodhi tree he attained enlightenment. This is another place that we must visit. First, it is the place of the birthplace of the Buddha, the Lumbini. It is actually declared. That place is declared as the historic place where the Buddha actually was born. And there is also a Ashokan pillar which says, "He the Buddha Jate Sakyamuni." The Shakyamuni Buddha was born there in Brahmin script. And then also recently, United Nations, they also declared officially, this is the place where the Buddha was officially born. So Buddha was a human. That also is a good news for us. You know, we have been listening to the Dhamma, learning the Dhamma from a human, a perfect human. That's really, really an interesting, and also a historic person. So that person is really important. The second place is the place where he was enlightened, Buddha Gaya. And then the third place is the Sarna, Isipatana Migadaya. First sermon was preached. And then the fourth place is the Kusinara or Kushinagar. Today's we can see it in, today it is called Kushinagar. So this is the place where he passed away, and this sutta particularly, this sutta particularly talks about this place, explain about this place. Yeah, I would like to ask if you have any question, please post it here so I can address as much as I can. Okay. Yes. And then the lamentation of the Mallas, the last convert, also really interesting. And praise of Ananda, Ananda's grief, and the past glory of Kusinara. All these things are very wonderfully explained in this sutta. So in Kusinara, for example, if you have in Kusinara, if you have visited Kusinara, there is one Buddha statue, a reclining Buddha statue that I have never seen anywhere else in the world. Such a grief-stricken or such a painful statue of the Buddha. Having seen that itself makes us heartbreaking. Like the Buddha's reclining, the last moment of his life. Like it was really done very nicely, and a lot of people go there and meditate or recite something. Also, a lot of people I have seen offering robe to the Buddha over there. And then last convert, also very interesting. Last convert is the Subhadra, amazing person, and how he wanted to listen to the Dhamma from the Buddha, and then he actually learned the Dhamma from the Buddha. And initially, Venerable Ananda was hesitant to allow him to go to the Buddha, but Buddha allowed him to come, because afterwards you will not be having any opportunity to ask any questions. So the Buddha was very kind towards everyone. He actually asked all the monks, all the nuns, upasakas and upasikas to ask any questions if you have, and don't regret later on. And this person actually had some questions. He wanted to ask those questions, clear those doubts, and the Buddha explained to him. And this person also determined himself that he would attain the fruition and path and fruition Magga before the passing away of the Buddha. That his amazing effort and his determination is really, really appreciated by the Buddha later on. And once he attained the Arahanthood, it is said. In fact, a lot of other mundane monks, nuns, and lay devotees, they were grief-stricken, they were panicking, they were so much stressed, they were weeping and wailing and crying, and they were really, really worried and restless, and they could not really meditate. But this person, Subhadra, was someone who really, really nailed it. And he thought, this is the best form of respect to the Buddha. And so he really did the right thing. To see the Buddha, to respect the Buddha, you need to practice the Dhamma, realize the Dhamma. That is the best form of respect to the Buddha. When someone passes away, when someone is in his or her last few days of his or her life, a lot of people cry, a lot of people panic, and even Venerable Ananda was having a very hard time, despite the fact that he was a Sotapanna. He still was not a liberated one. He was not an enlightened one. So he had his own very, very distressful situation. And he actually was also really mentally and physically, he was weak. And then the Buddha explained to him how Venerable Ananda was such a wonderful, such a dedicated disciple to the Buddha. And he appreciated Venerable Ananda's amazing dedication, how he was circumambulating the Buddha's Gandhakuti every single night with a lamp on his palm, and made sure that the Buddha was having a peaceful night. And it's amazing, his devotion to the Buddha. And this is also one reason why he could not go beyond Sotapanna, because he was extremely kind of attached to the Buddha, and he was so much dedicated, very focused on his duty as the personal attendant of the Buddha. And his amazing capacity to deal with people with so many different temperaments was also amazing. And how he was dealing with the kings and lots and lots of businessmen. Remember, the Buddha was from a royal family, and there were kings and some royal families visiting. And then the Venerable Ananda was the one who was, doing all these coordinating things. And how he dealt with all of them is really, really interesting. And King Bimbisara, King Ajatasattu, King Kosala, to mention a few, and then also these Mallas and other people, they all had some, every time they wanted to come, and they had to get the permission from Venerable Ananda first. So he was not discriminating over anyone. when it comes to these things. And also very kind to women, very compassionate person, Venerable Ananda, very pleasing. And it is said like how he was able to deal with so many different people and with compassion, with no discrimination, no injustice to anyone. And when he says something, when he said something to someone, the other party would be very happy and pleased because of his kindness. And also a lot of monks and a lot of nuns and also upasakas and upasikas were fascinated by Venerable Ananda's clarity of the Dhamma and Venerable Ananda's amazing understanding, also devotion. All these things were very, very interesting. So, praise for Ananda is there. The past glory of Kusinara and last convert and the lion's rover are some of the other things that and this is the last part actually, part 6, the passing away. And over here, the Blessed One, actually, as I mentioned, he uttered the last few words, and then Andadani Bhikkhave Amantrayami was Vaya Dhamma Sankara Pamadena Sampadete. Venerable monks, these are the last words. I say, I ask you again to be diligent, to work hard, to achieve your goal, spiritual goal. And then Blessed One's final exhortation, how the Blessed One passed into Nibbana. Also really interesting how it happened, like when he said those last few words and he went to jhana. First jhana, second jhana, third jhana, and the fourth jhana. One by one he went, and then also after that the Akasananchayatana, Vinyananchayatana, Akinchanyayatana, and Neva Sanyana Sanyayatana, the attainments. And he also went one by one to all of them, and then again ascending order and then descending order. Neva Sanyana Sanyayatana, Akinchanyayatana, Vinyananchayatana, and Akasananchayatana. And then he went to fourth jhana, third jhana, second jhana, and the first jhana. And afterwards, he went again, first jhana, second jhana, fourth, third jhana, and the fourth jhana, and that was it. This is how the sutta explained. This is not my personal perspective. And this is how the sutta explained. Actually, when he was in the jhana, in his meditation, when he, even after the fourth jhana, later only he had his last breath, and it is said he was very mindful even of his last birth, and he peacefully passed away. Venerable Ananda was confused whether he was still there or not. He had already passed away or not. And then he actually consulted Venerable Anuruddha, who was foremost among the divine eyes, to make sure to clarify this matter when the Buddha was actually meditating. And then Venerable Anuruddha explained the Blessed One has not yet passed away. He is still in meditation. And after that, fourth jhana, then he said the Blessed One passed away. And then Venerable Mahākassapa was the one who was the senior most monk during that time. And Venerable Mahākassapa, as you know, was also forest monk, and he was in the forest. And by this time, Venerable Sariputta, Venerable Moggallana, and some other senior monks, like even the 5 disciples, many of them have passed away. And so the senior most monk who could be the potential leader of the available existing Sangha community was Venerable Mahākassapa. And until Venerable Mahākassapa reached the occasion, it was nobody could actually even cremate the Buddha's body. And after that, it is said he actually um, came to the Buddha and he paid his respect, and then it is said the Buddha's body was magically burnt. Again, this is the account how it is mentioned in the sutta. So yeah, this is the thing about the sutta that I want to explain. And I think according to this time frame, we won't be able to explain so much about the Mahāparinibbāṇa Sutta, although I really like to talk more. And there are many things that we should talk actually in detail. But I would like to take this opportunity to ask you if you have any question, please post, and then we can hopefully discuss more. Okay, I'll give you some time for you to actually ask questions. I also appreciate some people who have been attending and also responding here. You can see Suminder, Srinath, and also Piangi, Julie, VIP, I think Vandami Bhante. So if you have a question, actually personal question, you may actually email to us. Hopefully we can, I will try if I can help. Or also, if you have questions, everyone is also invited to attend our Friday evening 6 p.m. Pacific time Q&A session. You can ask questions there as well. Apart from that, we have someone, actually I can recognize someone from Facebook and also Sanghamitta. And thank you everyone for joining us. And yes, so we need to make sure that these things, by learning about the Buddha's life and learning about the Dhamma, and also especially this sutta, many things are explained here in this sutta. So I would like to say we have to make some concentrated effort to see the Buddha and see the Dhamma, learn the Dhamma. How do we see the Buddha? Like when we can actually go to a temple and see the Buddha statue today. They are beautiful Buddha statues and we feel so connected to the Buddha, yes. But that is not to see the Buddha. What the Buddha mentioned here by seeing the Buddha is to see the Dhamma, to learn the Dhamma, to practice the Dhamma. And only if we learn the Dhamma and practice the Dhamma, and only then we can actually see the Buddha. So even today, you and I can see the Buddha in that way. Remember, there was a case where Venerable Vakali was looking. There was someone actually called Vakali, and he was looking at the Buddha. He was so happy to see the Buddha. Such a peaceful, pleasant person, to see him can make anyone feel very positive, very happy, very peaceful. And so this person was looking at the Buddha all the time. And remember, he even wanted to become a monk. Why? He wanted to look at the Buddha so that he could, feel so comfortable and peaceful. And yeah, so Buddha recognized this, and he was waiting for the right time, actually. And then the Buddha said, Yoko wakali dhammang pasati somang pasati. Yo mang pasati so dhammang pasati. Wakali, if you want to see me, see the Dhamma. If someone sees the Dhamma, sees me. So you and I have an opportunity, a golden opportunity to see the Buddha even today. It is not by looking at the Buddha physically, but by looking at the Dhamma, by learning and realizing and practicing the Dhamma, that we can see the Buddha. By going through these enormous Buddha's discourses, we can also see him. Every time we read the sutta, every time we talk about the sutta, every time we discuss about the sutta, we see the Buddha too. And then applying that theory into our day-to-day life, we can see the Buddha too. But eventually, the best form of seeing the Buddha is to get rid of this samsaric circle. So that one day, if you can say, Abhikantang Bhogotama, Abhikantang Bhogotama, Seyathapi Bhogotama, Nikkuchitang va Ukkucheya, Patichannang va Vivareya, Mulhasava Maggang Achikeya, Andhakara va Tela Pachotan Dhareya. So if someone can say, yeah, I see that, I see the Buddha, I was like a lost person, I could not see anything, and the Buddha showed me the path. And now you are like, there was a situation where a pot was upside down, and now it is in the right position. I can actually feel water there. And then I was lost in the darkness, and you showed me the light. You showed me with the light, so I could walk along the path to attain the Nibbana. And just like a blind person who could not see anything, and having seen things through the eye, just like having gained the eye so that he could see. And all these things, there were many suttas actually explained about this situation where many people have realized the Dhamma and so happy to express their gratitude to the Buddha. And many people wanted to become monks and nuns, and some even wanted to become his devoted, dedicated devotees. So some say, Upasaka Gotamo Dharetu, please consider me as your Upasaka or your devotee. And some people wanted to actually become monks and nuns. They wanted to ordain themselves after listening to the Dhamma. So that was there. And then only many people could actually say, Khina jati vusitang brahmacharyam katang karaniyam naparang ittatai. So, Khina jati, no more birth. And vusitang brahmacharyam, I have lived my life as a spiritual person. I have accomplished my spiritual life. Vusitang brahmacharyam, naparang ittathaya, nothing more to be done. And this is where we can say, actually, natidani puna bhavo. The birth is done and the death is done. No more death and birth circle anymore. This is why we can say how important it is to see the Dhamma, how important it is to realize the Dhamma. So I would like to invite all our wonderful friends who join us today, be in touch with the Dhamma. Don't forget to read the discourses of the Tipitaka. learn the Dhamma. Maybe some of the discourses when you read, you won't be able to understand properly. Maybe you need to actually hear from uh, uh, a scholarly monk, or maybe a practitioner monk, or a nun, or even a lay person who are more knowledgeable about the Dhamma. Because the more you learn about the Dhamma, these suttas, read these suttas, the more you understand about the Dhamma. There can be fragmented connections that we can see, lots and lots of gems scattered all over the Tipitaka. So some people who have well read about these things can actually see those things and connect those things, and then they can explain much better. But having said that, it is not like to deny the fact that you are also welcome to read. The suttas are available. The Tipitaka, the entire Tipitaka is available. I would like to say you start with the Sutta Pitaka. That will be very helpful. Start with the Sutta Pitaka. Read from the Digha Nikaya, all the way from Brahmajala Sutta, Samanyapala Sutta, Kutadanta, Sonadanda, all these sutta, and then the Satipatthana Sutta, Mahasatipatthana Sutta, and then um, Mahāparinibbāṇa Sutta. Read all of them cover to cover and learn things, and maybe make some notes. That way you can learn the Dhamma better and practice the Dhamma better. And also make sure you have some connections with other like-minded people, like-minded communities. So especially these days, we have Katina ceremonies, so you can go to some Katina ceremonies in different temples and meet them. Have the mudita, equanimity, or sympathetic joy, having seen those beautiful practices of those people. Those may be a lot of cultural events, but just be happy. Just maybe among them, you will find some wonderful Kalyana Mitras. Wherever you are, if you have a chance to visit some temple, meet some monks and nuns, and meet some wonderful Kalyana Mitra friends who know the Dhamma, and yeah, be in touch with them. Today we are so lucky we can actually be in touch with the Dhamma, with some Kalyana Mitra friends, even if you are far, far away. Thanks to this internet forum that we have, we can still be in touch with others, other friends from all across the world. So we should be able to learn the Dhamma, practice the Dhamma, eventually attain our spiritual liberation, our final goal, the supreme bliss of Nibbana. I wish and hope that you all have this wonderful opportunity to attain Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Arahanta, Maggapalas as soon as possible. With that good intention, I would like to conclude this session. Thank you so much for joining. May you all be very happy, very safe wherever you are. May all your loved ones, near and dear ones, your teachers, elders, all your family, friends, relatives, and everyone in your community, everyone in your neighborhood, everyone in your city, in your county, in your country, and everyone in the world, all children, all elders, all men and all women, all humans and all non-humans, skybound, earthbound, waterbound, all sentient beings, seen and unseen, near and far, short and long, weak and strong. May they all be well, happy, healthy, safe, wherever they are. May you be able to live your life peacefully, comfortably with good health. May you all be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana, the absolute peace and happiness at the end of your samsara. Thinking that, please keep your palms together close to your heart and say 3 times, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Sabbitiyo vivajjantu sabbarogo vinassato mate bhavattvantarayo sukhe digāyuko bhava bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba sanghanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te Abhivadana silisa niccang vata pacayino cattaro dhamma vardhanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti iminate samidhyatu sadhu sadhu sadhu. Thank you so much. I can see some question. Yeah, I would like to ask you, please post this question later, okay, on Friday. And see you again next week.